Welcome to the all-new HoopNova, your ultimate source for everything basketball.
LeBron James has listened to multiple voice notes delivered to him by Rich Paul from other owners and presidents from teams that are trying to give him their best pitch.
Some of the owners who are trying to get LeBron were talking to each other, and they were like, hey, you heard anything? Nope. Have you heard anything? Nope. LeBron is reaching out and talking to players on some of these teams.
NBA executives have reportedly gone to unusual lengths in their pursuit of LeBron James. According to multiple reports, team owners, presidents, and general managers have been recording personal voice messages on their phones and sending them to Rich Paul, LeBron's longtime agent. Instead of speaking directly with the superstar, they're hoping Paul will play those messages for him. It almost sounds unbelievable, but that's become part of the recruitment process. Imagine some of the most powerful figures in professional sports recording heartfelt pitches, like they're leaving a voicemail, then waiting to hear if their message ever reaches LeBron. The situation became even more interesting during a recent gathering of NBA owners and executives in Idaho, where, according to Brian Windhorst, many of the teams pursuing LeBron were asking each other if anyone had received an update. Even with all that effort, nobody seemed to know where things stood. Meanwhile, while the league was busy trying to get LeBron's attention, he was quietly exploring his options behind the scenes. Reports suggest one organization found a different approach that bypassed the usual recruiting process, yet there's still no confidence they'll land him. As Shams Charania recently hinted, this long-running free agency saga could finally be approaching its dramatic conclusion.
LeBron James has the information that's needed to make a decision. It's decision time right now for LeBron James.
Here's a rewritten version in around 350 words with a smoother, more engaging flow and original wording. With everything that's happened over the past few days, this could be the final major update before LeBron James officially reveals his next move. The timing is important because he's expected to appear on stage in New York with a live microphone, giving fans another chance to hear directly from him. Whether he announces anything or not, the basketball world is watching closely, and speculation has reached an all-time high. Now, let's dive into one of the most surprising details to emerge from this entire free agency saga. According to Shams Charania, NBA teams interested in signing LeBron have been delivering their recruiting pitches in a very unusual way. Instead of traditional meetings or private conversations, owners, team presidents, and general managers have been recording personal voice messages and sending them to Rich Paul, LeBron's longtime agent. Paul then passes those messages along to LeBron, making him the central connection between the superstar and every interested franchise. What's fascinating is that the person recording each message reveals just how serious a team is about landing him. If the general manager is making the pitch, it's a strong effort. If the team president steps in, the interest is even greater. But when the franchise owner personally records a message, it sends a clear signal that the organization is willing to do whatever it takes to convince LeBron to join them. It's an unusual recruiting strategy, but it also shows the incredible influence LeBron still has over the league. At the same time, every front office knows the competition is doing exactly the same thing. Teams aren't just trying to impress LeBron, they're trying to outdo each other in the process. That has created one of the most competitive free agency battles the NBA has seen in years. Despite all of these efforts, LeBron reportedly isn't holding private meetings with teams. Instead, every conversation is flowing through Rich Paul, making him the key figure in the entire process. One organization, however, appears to have taken a different approach. Rather than relying solely on voice messages, they found a creative opportunity through Rich Paul's podcast, where former Warriors executive Bob Myers was able to speak directly with him on camera. It wasn't a formal negotiation, but it certainly caught the attention of NBA fans and added another fascinating chapter to an already unpredictable free agency story.
If you're talking about the Sixers, I honestly believe this is your best chance to win. You have to decide all the other things. If it's about winning, you can win here in Philadelphia.
Everything has now reached its final stage. Every recruiting pitch has been delivered, every voice message has been heard, and every team has made its best offer. According to Chris Haynes, Rich Paul confirmed during the Cavaliers Heat Summer League game that LeBron James now has all the information he needs, meaning his long-awaited decision could come at any moment.
A whole bunch of NBA owners were up at the Sun Valley Media Conference in Idaho, and they were chatting, and some of the owners who are trying to get LeBron were talking to each other, and they were like, hey, you heard anything? Nope. Have you heard anything? Nope.
At this point, there's nothing left for teams to say. Every franchise has made its pitch, every conversation has taken place, and now the waiting game begins. Across the league, executives are constantly checking their phones for any update on LeBron's decision. Meanwhile, at the Sun Valley Media Conference in Idaho, several NBA owners gathered together, and according to Brian Windhorst, many of them were quietly discussing the latest rumors surrounding the LeBron sweepstakes.
LeBron is reaching out and talking to players on some of these teams. They report back to their GM or their coach like, hey, LeBron called, but what did you think?
The situation has become almost unbelievable. Some of the wealthiest and most influential people in sports, owners of entire NBA franchises, have been trying to gather any information they can about LeBron's future. During the Sun Valley Media Conference in Idaho, where billionaires from the worlds of business, media, and sports gather each year, many of the owners pursuing LeBron reportedly had the same simple question for one another. Have you heard anything? The answer was almost always the same. No one knew any more than anyone else. Even Rich Paul, LeBron's longtime agent, hasn't offered much clarity. When asked about a possible timeline, he explained that there isn't one. He said LeBron is taking his time, carefully evaluating every option, and that he's giving him the space to relax, focus on himself, and make the decision when he's ready. Whether Paul truly doesn't know the final answer or is simply keeping everything confidential, the result is the same. The entire league remains in suspense. Because LeBron's decision carries so much weight, many teams have paused their own off-season plans. Front offices are reluctant to commit their remaining salary cap space until they know where the four-time NBA champion will land. In many ways, one player's choice has placed the entire league in a holding pattern. But while teams waited for news, LeBron wasn't sitting still. Instead of responding publicly, he was quietly gathering information behind the scenes, carefully evaluating every opportunity before making what could become one of the biggest decisions of the NBA offseason.
There's true interest, obviously, in Steph joining up with LeBron, but he feels that there's some sort of chance of it happening.
What makes this entire process so unique is that LeBron isn't relying solely on the recruiting pitches coming from team executives. While owners, presidents, and general managers are sending messages through Rich Paul, LeBron is gathering his own information in a completely different way. Instead of listening to polished presentations about a team's culture or future, he's reportedly reaching out directly to players already on those rosters, asking what it's really like behind the scenes. Imagine being an NBA player and suddenly receiving a call from LeBron James asking about your organization. After that conversation, many players would naturally inform their general manager that LeBron had contacted them. Ironically, some front offices may be learning about their own recruitment efforts from their players, rather than the other way around. It's an unusual dynamic that completely changes the traditional free agency process. Many people have described this offseason as teams constantly sending information to LeBron while receiving nothing in return. But that's only part of the story. The information hasn't stopped flowing, it's simply been flowing in one direction. Every interested franchise has been revealing its plans, vision, and long-term goals, while LeBron quietly gathers independent opinions from people who experience those organizations every day. It's one of the most thorough evaluation processes any superstar has ever conducted. Meanwhile, LeBron appears completely relaxed, despite the growing speculation. He was recently spotted enjoying a Jay-Z concert at Yankee Stadium alongside Jason Tatum, while NBA front offices continued anxiously waiting for any sign of his decision. With communication tightly controlled through Rich Paul, very few people have direct access to LeBron. In fact, only a small number of individuals around the league already have that personal connection, giving one franchise a potential advantage as the free agency drama approaches its conclusion.
We want to play good basketball, be around people that know how to play the game. Hopefully, raise our floor, our competitiveness this year. There's good golf in the Bay. We're an organization that's been there. He knows that.
One of the biggest advantages in this entire free agency race belongs to the Warriors. Unlike most teams, Golden State has players who can communicate with LeBron James directly instead of relying only on Rich Paul. Reports indicate that Draymond Green recently spent time with LeBron during a trip to Puerto Rico, where he personally made the case for joining the Warriors. Draymond later acknowledged those conversations on his own show, describing his recruiting effort as intense. According to reports, those discussions strengthened LeBron's interest in Golden State, giving the Warriors a unique edge over many of their competitors.
I have a percentage kind of up to him. I feel like any place he called and said I want to play there, you knew the mountains would make it happen.
While other teams were sending recruiting messages through Rich Paul, the Warriors had a more personal approach. Draymond Green reportedly spent time with LeBron during a vacation, while Stephen Curry later had his own opportunity to speak with him on a golf course. It was a fitting setting, considering LeBron had been spending much of his offseason golfing.
Their decision makers really from the beginning of this free agency have not expressed much optimism to me that they're going to ultimately be the destination. They know they're in on it. They've identified from the beginning Cleveland as what they believe is the most likely destination.
Stephen Curry has taken a unique approach to recruiting LeBron James, reportedly using time together on the golf course to discuss the possibility of teaming up. Considering Rich Paul has repeatedly said LeBron has been enjoying golf throughout the offseason, it may have been the perfect opportunity for a genuine conversation. Curry also admitted that the idea of playing alongside LeBron would have once seemed impossible, calling it a truly historic possibility for the NBA. When asked about the chances of it happening, Curry avoided making any predictions, simply saying the final decision belongs entirely to LeBron James.